The Weakling trio needs an upgrade. Wano showed us their glaring weaknesses and really made us wonder what happened back there. Chopper did great against Queen, but he was basically sidebarred by Baby Geezer Chopper for nearly the entire raid. Usopp was at peak cowardice levels, and although he did have a moment or two, he was still mostly running away frightened. Nami was right next to Usopp, also running scared. She may have gotten a little bit stronger by obtaining Zeus, but we don't really have much else to congratulate her on combat-wise. On the current island they are at, Egghead, I believe each of the weaklings could find an item or two to boost their survivability by a good margin. So let's go one by one and give the weakling trio a much needed upgrade. First up is Chopper. He's honestly the one I got the most things to say about, so he will go first. He needs a new medicine and overall new gear. I'm going to suggest he ditch the backpack and wear a Batman-style utility belt. This belt will ideally contain a couple types of medicines, rumble balls, and a new formula for making Monster Point last longer. He needs something more though, like a rumble ball that gives him the added benefit of one form while being in another. Kung Fu Point is a good fighting stance, but it isn't anything too substantial against top-tier opponents. His other points only excel at one thing minus Monster Point, and he can't risk going Baby Geezer in the final war. A new medicine that would boost his potential power without the drawback that Monster Point has would be fantastic for him. So, one of the first things that I want to point out is that Kung Fu Point is just his fodder clearing stance, so let's leave that alone for now. He could learn Karate Point from Robin and Jinbei, a potential subset of Fishman Karate. Something Chopper could create to facilitate this new Rumble Ball is that gives him a boost that maybe is half as powerful as the current new formula for Monster Point. That way he doesn't have to intermix, using Monster Point and then running the risk of Baby Geezering or not even being able to finish the fight. Like with Queen, he wasn't even able to finish the fight before the Rumble Ball timed out. He was lucky Sanji was there to help him. And he got interfered with Perospero, so let's not act like the final war is going to be a bunch of one-on-one fights, because it's simply not. In Karate Point, he could start making use of his signature palm and hoof thrust that he's known for, as we see Jinbei has tremendous success with palm thrust with his Arabesque brick fist and whatnot. Maybe the legs of Jump Point and the arms of R Point mixed with Brain Point. This would be an upgrade to his Kung Fu Point, as well as to stop him from needing to rely, like I said, on the 30-minute Monster Point drug. And honestly, that drug of the Monster Point is more of a liability than an asset. A further step to the potential point is to upgrade it just one step further with Rokushiki Point. And this would be like Karate Point that I'm suggesting, but would obviously give him the benefit of using the 6 powers. Imagine him using his Karate Point and going into Rokushiki Point or Rokushiki mode, whatever you want to call it, and then he busts out the horns and starts pulling out horn pistol, like a finger pistol but with his horns. That would be a tremendous advantage in combat, no? And something unique to the human fruit, we've seen Luffy using his Rokushiki powers with his devil fruit, like in tandem with each other. He went gear second and started doing shave and all that good stuff. And in a way, his Gum Gum pistol is enhanced further with gear second, and we see that the CP9, they're using finger pistol left and right. So he'll need a couple more tools, and my final upgrade for him is either learning Haki if there is time for it, because we're moving very fast right now, or getting a technical gadget that will offer him tactical advantages to make up the remainder of the pockets on his utility belt that I proposed. With Karate Point being an in-between of Kung Fu Point and Monster Point, he can save Monster Point for when all else fails while relying on Kung Fu and Karate Point. He'll need something like a collapsible weapon that he can ready at the flip of a pocket. He already carries healing items and form-changing drugs, so he really only needs something to help him fill that in-between stage of the fight where he doesn't need a Rumble Ball reliance to keep him in the fight itself. A clutch weapon like a Wapple Metal sectional bow staff made by Frankie and Usopp would be perfect. He could make use of it in Kung Fu Point and in Karate Point, and overall, it would help him stay in fights longer. So that's about it for Tony Chopper, so let's shift gears and go ahead and to talk about Usopp's upgrade now. Usopp has a bit of an issue with consistency. He took a 4-ton bat to the face pre-time skip, survive a beatdown from the Frankie family, and the way he lost to Ulti just made me wonder, like, where was the pre-time skip Usopp getting back up from hit after hit? You know, it just kind of frustrated me. Like, the headbutt from Ulti, sure, brutal and substantial as it was, I feel like it wasn't near the force of a 4-ton bat. But, you know, I could be wrong. I'm not here to argue. It's just my thoughts, you know? So he needs to gain control of a few things for his upgrade. Step 1 is he definitely needs to get confidence and his cowardice in balance. He needs to be mildly unshakable. It's definitely okay to retreat when you're outmatched, but he needs that confidence booster in a fight to really get his reins in. I would suggest he train with Zoro, honestly. Making his body a lot stronger with the allotted time, that is, might even help him gain control of the brief glimpse of observation Haki we saw in Dressrosa. Haki takes a long time to master, and the story seems to be moving faster, but I think working out will give him the confidence and wherewithal to no longer want to flee first in fights. The next upgrade for him would be to gain a little bit of time with the Giants. And I know this is like a super reach, but hear me out. The Straw Hat Grand Fleet has Rudin in it and his giant warrior pirates. He might be able to take a close range weapon like an axe or his old hammers that he really never uses anymore. And I know there isn't tons of time left for these types of upgrades, but I think, you know, something else in mind could be like combat enhancing drugs from Chopper, but made for a human like Usopp. See, a temporary strengthening pill or something to help focus his eyes to access that observation Haki would help tremendously. One final upgrade would be introducing weather dials back into his arsenal. And maybe he's probably exhausted them all by now, but just imagine a shield with a coating of impact dials, also made from Wapple metal by Frankie, and it's able to withstand the insane backlash of the impact dial burst, right? Or an axe that can heat itself up, kind of like, I think his name was Shura in Skypiea. He had like a heat lance, and his bird also had like a flame dial shooting like flames out of its mouth, or maybe it was just a fire-breathing bird, I don't remember. But to, add a lot of oomphs to those swings, a flaming axe would just be really cool. I'd love to see Usopp have that. And I believe that these are obtainable on Egghead, and only the future can tell us if this upgrade is possible, So next up, I want to bring up Nami, and her upgrade has actually already been shown. See, we saw Lilith using a bubble gun to stop a Seraphim in its tracks, and honestly, I think something like that is perfect for Nami. To be able to neutralize a Devil Fruit user at a moment's notice is exactly what she's missing. She's far too valuable as a navigator to actually be relied on in a fight, and that's perfectly acceptable. Like, really think about this. What were to happen if Nami were to get shot in the eye or stabbed directly through the throat and she can't really do the navigation anymore? Or if she were to flat out die? These would be bad things. Remember, it's not like Jinbei was the official navigator of his crew. He's always been the helmsman to my knowledge, and when the Sun Pirates, he was the captain. And it never said anything about having navigational skills, right? So let's just keep that in mind. I want her to be able to defend herself in light of an all too likely ambush by the Blackbeard pirates. As a crew of Devil Fruit users, the one thing she would need to neutralize them, obviously, is this bubble gun. It just would take one shot from the attacker to rain down on them, All you have to do is hit them with the bubble and then rain down lightning on them when they're coated in water, and just like a Pokemon, double effectiveness, and bam! She'll be able to get an escape because the Blackbeard pirates are insanely durable. Let's give them credit where credit is due, right? This would give her an advantage and a window of opportunity to escape, like I said, and letting a fighter come in and take hold of the situation. She could just call in Sanji, Jinbei, Zoro, Luffy, maybe even Robin, maybe upgraded Usopp and Chopper. We know Sanji can basically teleport the second he hears her screams, so there's also that to rely on as well. There's also a joke that has been introduced at the end of Wano when she struck Luffy, and Jinbei commented, "Oh, is that the colors of the Conqueror's Haki that she used on Luffy?" And, although it's a joke, let's go ahead and say it wasn't. And Nami only knows one form of Haki, and it's Conqueror's for some reason. This would actually be tremendous because she'd be able to do things like smack a Blackbeard and run away, or, temporarily be able to push back Van Auger, or maybe even San Juan Wolf, just "Get away from me, you ugly oaf," because I can imagine her saying it just like that. And it would also make a little bit of sense that she has Conqueror's Haki, considering how she sassed the shit out of Kaido at the end of Wano. You know, that was one of my favorite moments. You know, he even said, at least one of you has some moxie. And, you know, he prepared to Boro Blast her. And honestly, it's not a move of cowardice to do that. He respected Nami so much that if she was going to keep talking, she would have boosted the morale of everyone else around her. So he had to take her out. So she's lucky Marco was there. But that's exactly the way I want Nami fighting. Because like I said, she's too valuable as the navigator to just be like thrown willy-nilly into combat like this. So those are most of my main upgrades, right? Nami, again, like I've said this 2 times already, but I just think she's way too valuable. I don't want her dying in combat, and the bubble gun kind of fits her motif. You know, she's already using the hot and cold bubbles pre-time skip, and to be able to just mix all of that together in tandem with her bubble gun, I think would work very well, because all she has to do is activate Zeus so he's outside of the climb attack, and then she could pull out the bubble gun and then just start raining down bubbles on Devil Fruit users. Because I feel like coming up, those are going to be her main, you know, source of trouble. She's always fought a Devil Fruit user. Of all the Nami fights I can think of, I think of Miss Doublefinger, Spike Fruit. I think of Khalifa, Soap Fruit, you know, Cracker, whatever he had, like the biscuit Nomi. Like, those are just the things that I'm thinking of. So, you know, that's about it for the Weakling trio upgrades. Let me know what you think down below, if you have a favorite one, if you have better ones for me, and if you made it this far, consider subscribing if you liked the video. My name is Merch Hunter Ricky, and it was a pleasure to present this idea to you. Have a good day, everyone.